Okay, Facebookers, as you know, about a week ago, I put a poll on the fan page and I asked you guys what topics you'd like me to cover, and the most popular one was cutting while maintaining muscle mass. So today we are going to start the series of cutting while losing muscle mass. You heard me right, I said series. I mean, Sean looked at the topic and we decided that we just couldn't give it justice, just cover it in one video, and it needs to be broken down into 3 separate parts. So today, Sean's working, so I'm going to cover the first part of the video. It's going to be mostly mathematical, unfortunately for you guys, but it is important and it does need to be covered. And then in the second and third parts, we're going to elaborate and we're going to go on to the nutrition side of things. We're going to go on to the exercise components of the cutting while maintaining muscle mass. Okay, so for the first part, it's come to sort of light that when looking through the fan page questions, a lot of people don't know how to work out their macros. So this is going to be maybe above a few people's heads, maybe below a few people's heads, but we need everyone to get up to speed on the same level so we can all move on together into future videos. So for the sake of this video, I want you to go with the fact that 4 calories is a gram of protein, 4 calories is a gram of carbohydrates, and 9 calories is a gram of fat. So 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. Okay, so let's say that we give you a number, me and Sean, and we worked out that you need to eat 3,600 calories per day in order to maintain, lose, gain, or whatever. Okay, let's say we give you 3,600 calories a day that you've got consumed. I'm going to show you a few techniques and a few mathematical equations on how you work out what you need to eat in order to obtain that. Okay, so we know we need to eat 3,600 calories, and as bodybuilders, we know protein is the most important nutrient for repairing muscles. Now, you could ask 20 different bodybuilders in the gym, how much protein do I need? And they'll give you 20 different answers. For most of the sort of research that's online, you're going to get an answer between 1 pound per gram, or 1 gram per pound, I should say, to 3 grams per pound body weight, that is. I like to go with 1.5 grams, sort of play it straight down the middle, 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So now let's say that we know we're a 200 pound individual. Okay, so a 200 pound individual eating 3,600 calories a day. What we'd have to do first is then we have to work out how many of those calories are going to come from the protein that we eat. So we know that we're 200 pounds, so we times 200 pounds by 1.5 grams, and that gives us 300 grams of protein per day. So that's great. But how many calories does that contain? Okay, so 300 grams of protein, we times by 4, that's 1,200 calories. So already out of that 3,600 calories, we have worked out that 1,200 calories are going to be consumed by our 300 grams of protein. Okay. So then we're left with 2,400 calories in this case. Now, depending on what split you're doing, how many carbs you need, got to go this again, how many carbs you need, how many fats you need, will depend on how you break down the ratio of what's left. Okay, but let's say, for instance, that out of what's left from the protein, we split it into a 60-40 in favour of carbohydrates. So we've got 2,400 calories left from our protein deductions, and we're going to take 60% of the 2,400. So the first thing we do is we take 2,400 on our calculator, and we times it by 0.060, which is the easiest way to get 60% of something. And I think if my calculations are correct, that's about 1,440. So we've got 1,440 calories coming from carbohydrates, which would mean that we've got 960, if that's correct, coming from fats. Okay, so let's break those down again then. So we said 4 calories is a gram of carbohydrate, and we've got 1,440 calories coming from carbohydrate, which means that we'd be eating on a given day 360 grams of carbohydrates. We know we've got 960 calories coming from fat, which means on a given day we're going to be eating about 107 grams of fat. Okay, so that's great. So now we've worked out how much of those macronutrients we're going to be consuming, and we know how many calories we're going to be eating. So now all it is a case of is doing some math and breaking it down into meals. Now, depends on how many meals you can eat in a day, it's going to obviously adjust these figures. But I like to eat 6 meals a day. I know Sean eats 8 meals a day. I know other people that eat 4 meals a day. But let's break this down for a person who eats 6 meals a day. So we've got 300 grams of protein. So we divide that by 6. Every single meal we'll be eating 50 grams of protein. We've got 360 grams of carbohydrates. So every meal, if we divide that by 6, we'll be eating 60 grams of carbohydrates. And we've got about just over 106 or 107 grams of fat. So each meal we're going to be eating about 17 grams of fat. And the whole meal itself should come to 600 calories. If we do that 6 times throughout the day, we are going to cover our macros of the figure that we just discussed. And we're not necessarily going to be having it perfect. Got ghosts again in the building. We're not necessarily going to have it perfect every single time. You know, some meals we might have more carbohydrates or less carbohydrates, and some meals we might have a bit more fat. But I would say it's in your best interest to get a steady influx of protein throughout the day to keep the protein levels regular, and then just play around with the carbs and the fats depending on what the meal is. Okay, I'm going to post a link in the description box, like I said before, so you actually know how to work these calculations out and you can follow them on the website. So you can follow on the website. And tomorrow, me and Sean will be finishing off this series, parts 2 and 3, hopefully for you, and we're going to cover some exercise, and also we're going to cover the nutrition side of it. Not all foods are alike when it comes to cutting and losing fat, and we're going to discuss a little bit about the GI index and a few goodies to come. But for now, the main thing is to work out, no matter what figures we give you in terms of total calorie for the day, you can work out what percentage of your macronutrients are required in terms of protein, carbohydrates and fats. Okay, I'll leave it there for today, and I hope you guys see you tomorrow.